Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's time for some more Wednesday words of wisdom. So, we're continuing on with some great words from wise women. I said it. And we started at the beginning of the book, which has some speeches from a long time ago. And so now I'm jumping to the end of the book, which has a speech from Maya Lin, sculptor and architect, that she gave in 2018. So that's what we're going to be reading today. When American sculptor and architect Maya Lin addressed the graduates of New York's School of Visual Arts, class of 2018, she recalled her own commencement ceremony. She was distracted. She had just won the competition to design the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. Bold and minimalist, the memorial was completed in 1982, when Lin was in her early 20s. Widely regarded as one of the most important monuments of our time, it receives over 5 million visitors each year. The memorial's success, however, was not always a given. It was shocking from the get-go. Her critics were unconvinced that someone so young, hardly out of school, and a woman as well, could pull off such a high-profile commission. In addition, everyone wanted to weigh in on her design, including male mentors, with the weight of years of experience behind them. Yet Lin, who has since achieved international success as an artist and designer, stuck to her vision. Youth gives us a sense of being invincible. In her speech, she describes her own fears and anxieties about the artistic life and the singular creative process, advising the graduates to move past self-doubt by embracing intuition. She tells them, "You should not be afraid to offend anyone, to question everything, to reinvent yourself, and to rethink the world." Wow, I feel like I'm really going to like this passage. Okay, here we go. I believe everyone has a role and a responsibility to make the world a better place, because the alternative is for us to help make the world a worse place, or to stand by and do nothing. I believe that how you choose to relate, respond, and try to shape your time is very much a part of your evolution as an artist. Art can be both a leader and a mirror of the time we live in. Artists can see things that others can't. We can present the world in a new light and get others to see a new truth, a new future. We can help to imagine and create a different world. Don't be afraid to get involved. Don't be afraid to care. Believe that your one voice can make a difference. May you never lose that passion, that drive, that poetry. I am struggling on new works all the time, trying to find new ideas and give them shape. It is the same struggle for all of us, and you are not alone. And now, as you graduate here today, you are becoming part of a larger artistic community, one that stretches back into time, that creates a dialogue, a conversation with your fellow humans through all times. I see it as a collective creative consciousness. Through art, we know how people saw their world 1,000 years ago, and through our art, people 1,000 years from now will see us. I think it's amazing that William Shakespeare's words, written 400 years ago, can still make us cry or laugh, or that I stand in front of Picasso's Guernica in absolute silent awe. How will your works be read and felt 100 years from today, or 1,000 years from today? So today, I ask you to become part of that conversation and to find your voice in this wondrous creative continuum. And I ask you, what would you like to say? Wow. that was crazy. So inspiring. Like, it makes sense that that was a commencement address. Um, you know, these people have just finished, however many years it took to get their degree. And now they're entering a new chapter. And, that can be scary. Change is hard, change is scary. And I don't know, that was just so, so inspiring. Um, and it kind of made me think of what I'm doing here. Like, this is it is a creative expression. Not even kind of. And not just this video, but like making videos on this YouTube channel. Because I do want to say something. Like, I have said this in another video, we all have stories to tell. And, being alive is figuring out how to share those stories. And yeah, I want to point out, and I mentioned this in the first, the Elizabeth I's speech. She mentioned things in a group of 3, and I said that this is like a technique that's still used to this day. And here we are in the speech in 2018. She says, what does she say? May you never lose that passion, that drive, that poetry. Having these 3 synonymous related things in succession. Like, it really has that power to, like, think of all the different possibilities. This was so so beautiful. I really, really like this. Oh, yes, okay. I also want to talk about how part of what I am doing here is sharing my perspective on the world. And I think it's, like, important to be looking for other perspectives, because of the way we exist, we only really ever see things through our own eyes. And, we can't see the things that are in our blind spots, physically, literally, but also metaphorically. And this is random, but I just thought of it because I said literally. And it's funny how the use of literally has changed over time, and it's not always used to mean literally, like actually, really. Like, I literally died laughing. I didn't literally die. But I feel like it kind of, like, literature and literally, I'm sure they have, like, a root in common. And in literature, we can be figurative. So I think that's sort of how this word has sort of morphed to try to take on a meaning that's almost opposite to what it really means. And that's interesting. Like, that, I feel like that applies to what she says about how we use art and expression. It reflects the world we live in. And so I feel like that has to do with, like, sort of the kind of like the craziness and the irony of the world we live in. Like, how we've reached, in some aspects, like, really, phenomenal, remarkable things. But then in other aspects, there are things that are still severely lacking. And it's like, our world is really contradictory. And that's interesting. Something, we all have to deal with. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. And we'll be back next week with Alicia Garza's An Ode to a Black Woman. An Ode to Black Women.